Okay, so I'm just going to show the way that I do my wool applique. I'll go over some of the embroidery stitches, and yeah, the piecing is pretty simple. I'm sure everybody's quilters. So if there's any piecing questions, you can ask those too. But I think it's pretty good. So what I do with my blocks is I cut my background fabric, and I cut it to size because I like to piece my whole block and then do my embroidery. So I don't do my embroidery separate and then piece them together after. And then this
So
is,
Lori,
yeah.
do you want what you're doing with your hands to be showing? Because your face is showing.
Oh no, I'm pinned. Oh, I'm on both, I think. Oh, hang on a sec. Stop my video there.
You can pin it, you can pin it yourself too.
Yeah.
Can't.
If you go to her, if you go to the screen that she's on, there's 3 dots up in the corner, and if you can pin
Okay.
it yourself.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Okay, are we
Perfect.
good now?
Thank you so much.
Okay, good. We're
Sorry.
good now? That's okay, no worries. Okay, so, and I cut my SF 101, usually to the same size as my block, or just a little smaller, because when I piece it, I mean, it does get in the seams, and I don't really notice the bulk that much, but it does add just a little bit when you go to piece it. And I make sure that there's no fluffs, because if you have any fluffs on your SF 101 or on your backing piece, they could show through. So I like to make sure they're really clean. And I'm gonna iron it together. My iron's away from the camera, so just one sec. I just got this really cute little iron. Isn't it cute? And it's purple. Always gotta have some fun. Okay. So I have it fused on now, the backing. Oh, I'm going there. Okay, and I use the seam is seam method. So I have a piece of seam is seam, and I thought I would show it maybe because I know the first block. I think I'll just show it maybe on the circles and do those ones. So when I do my circles, I use the perfect circles, which are these, because they do make perfect circles. And they come in a package. They're Karen K. Buckley perfect circles. And there's big ones and small ones. So I have both packages in this one, but I really like them because they do really make it easier. So supplies. I usually trace my templates with a pencil. So I usually get pencil on me though. And I like to window them. So I like to cut out the center so that there's not a lot of bulk, because stitching through a few layers can be a little tough. So then I take my other one and I'll trace it inside. And then I just cut around. Paper scissors, no fabric scissors. I guess you do use fabric scissors because you cut the paper anyway when the fabric's on it, right? And then for this one, I like to not have too much bulk in the center. So I don't mind with the centerpiece because that's just stitching onto one layer. So I usually cut around here like that. And then I'll take my first piece of wool. I love the wool. Don't you love the wool? I just love it. Then you peel off the outer layer, which is not always that easy. Look at it. There it is. So the outer layer is paper 2. And then you can place this one down on your wool and it sticks, which is nice. It doesn't move. And then for the other one, I'll do light pink, which is powder. Is it easy to tell in your kit which wool is which? I try to set them out so it's easy.
It's very easy.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Block 2 is on its way. Okay. And this one I'll do on here and then I'll just iron, then you iron them down. It's just like a fusible, so. Cut them out on the line. Which this is where your perfect circle won't help you. Ha! Right, Oh yeah, I do Sue Spargo applique too, and when we did our class, they use punches from an automotive center to cut out their circles, so they're perfect. And they just tap them with a hammer, and they're sharp, so they cut perfect circles. There. And then what I really like about this is when you peel it off, and all of my patterns are reversed, so they're just ready for tracing. Then when you peel it off, and then it's a little sticky, which is nice because it doesn't come off. Oh, it did. I didn't press it hard enough. But you can move it around and it stays attached until you iron it permanently. So this will be like the posy in block 1. And just place it how you like. And then back to the iron. And then, so I like to press the iron. My iron's not in view, but I press it on this side until it's attached. And then I'll flip it over and steam it on the back. And that's what really holds it into place. I can't see my iron anyway, it's hiding. I'll flip it. Okay. There. Yeah, I shook the camera, sorry. So, and then for supplies, I use a chenille needle. Well, I have primitive gathering chenille needles, but you can use whatever ones you like. Or some people just like to use their embroidery needle for all of it. I like the chenille needles for the wool applique. Do I have one pulled out? And then the embroidery needles, this one's a size 10, but I use a 7, a 9, or a 10. I like them all. And these chenille are 24, or you can use 26. Isn't that both the same? Or is 26 maybe for the big stitch? So 24 is good for, and it even says for wool applique. Okay. I just dumped them all. My hands are really swollen from doing a lot of work, and we're trying to figure out what's going on with them. So I drop a lot of things. Okay, so there's my needle, and I'll get, my Valdanis aren't as nice as yours are because I've used them a lot. So for this outside one, I would just use this H204. And I whip stitch my pieces. You can blanket stitch. I had one girl that did Sue Spargo, so she fancied up everything. Watch, I won't be able to thread it. Yes, you will. My daughter is right here with me because she knows how to run the cameras and everything. I did it. No, I only got part of it. I usually use a needle threader, but sometimes it splits the Valdani and I don't really like that. Oh, there's my needle threader. We'll see if it splits the Valdani this time. Ooh, lucky. Okay. And then I just do like my version of a quilter's knot, I guess, and I just put that in, I twist it a couple times and pull it through. And I just leave that knot on the back. So I start at the edge. And I just do a whip stitch on my pieces. So I go into the length I like and then over. And that's how I do it all the way around. I don't do blanket stitch on my pieces, but if that's what you like, go ahead. Is anybody doing whip stitch or have you decided yet?
I'm doing whip stitch. I'm doing blanket stitch on mine.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'll
there's,
do a mixture.
I'll do whatever's easier.
I like, the whip stitch is easier and
Mhm.
it doesn't roll off either, right? And it looks really nice. The first time I saw it was, I did a Kim Deal wool applique quilt and I really liked doing the whip stitch and it's easy. And it looks nice. I like it.
Yeah,
Do you like it? Mhm.
Yeah, very nice.
And it's so easy to do. And as long as you window your pieces, it's easy to stitch through because when you get into those 3-4 layers, that hurts your fingers. If you're lucky to get your needle through it all, right? So that's it. That's how I do all of my wool applique. And I know the one girl that was in our last one, Diane, she does a lot of Sue Spargo, so I know she embellished her quilt. And I'll see if I can get a picture of it. I don't think she's quite finished. And I had a couple people that said, oh yeah, we bought the kit, but we're saving it for retirement. So I think I had 3 or 4 people who didn't even start it. That's why I found the Facebook group for the first time. There wasn't too much posting, but I'm hoping you guys will post your blocks on it because
Okay.
it's nice for everybody to see. Yeah. So you can do them that far apart. You can make them a little wider if you like. Just try and be consistent, then it looks better. Okay.
Can
So
you do a close? Can you do a closer up? Awesome. Thank
You
you.
see it better now?
Yes, perfect.
So that's it. Just an easy whip stitch. That's what I like anyway.
So you do the outer one first and then you'll stitch the
Doesn't
inner.
matter.
Yeah.
They're both attached, so you can do whatever one you want first. I just picked the outer because it was just right there closer. So. And then you do the inner one exactly the same. You could put French knots in the middle. You could do whatever you want. You could do a chain stitch around some of it, which would look really nice too. That would look nice, eh? I do some of that in my Sue Spargo blocks, the chain stitch. And that would look nice too. Okay, now I don't want to stop. It's fun. So then, are you all familiar with the embroidery stitches or some of you don't know any? They're pretty simple ones, but I can go over them. I guess I should switch my needle. Okay, so I already have an embroidery needle somewhere. Well, that's the one I just stuck back in. Yeah. Okay. Sometimes, like, especially when I'm doing the leaves, my camera's moving, hang on. The leaves and stems, sometimes I just go around the leaf and then keep going up the stem with the same needle. So it's all what you like. I don't mind doing some of the applique with the embroidery, but I find for the French knots, I like a bit of a longer embroidery needle. Okay, let's see if I can thread this one. I don't think I'm gonna be that lucky. I don't like needles that are really hard to thread. It's just not fun. This one's actually got a pretty big eye, so. Yay. I know some people, they can take it and just flip their fingers around, and I don't know how they get their needle threaded that way, but they do. Okay, I do the same kind of knot. I always do that to start my embroidery. Okay, so let's pick something. So when I trace my embroidery, I like to use these friction pens. There's a lot of people that don't love them because, especially, I would test them on fabric because on dark fabric, they can leave ghost lines. So if you, I know I used it on a red fabric and it left a line. And also you don't want to iron after you trace because the iron will take the marks away. So I like to put my whole block together and then I'll do my tracing. Sometimes I'll use a permanent marker to do some of my embroidery, which, what are those ones called? The micron pens. I'll use that for embroidery, but they're permanent. So you have to be really careful that your lines are done really well, exactly where you want them. Yeah, but I find these really good, especially on cream fabrics, because you don't really, it doesn't leave a line and you're embroidering over it anyway. So if you just took, like, you could do, I love them too because they're smooth and easy and you can see your line pretty well. So one of the stitches I always use is back stitch. Some people prefer stem stitch. I use back stitch, especially with the Valdani. I like it. You can use stem stitch if you like. So I start at the end and then I go one stitch and then I go back this way. Bring it up closer. Can you see okay? Back stitch is just simple. Then you go right back to the stitch and you want to try and get it exactly, or it leaves like a little hole in between. That's why I think a lot of people like stem stitch. They don't have to worry about it. But that's all back stitches, and then back to the hole at the end of that one. And you go forward and you try to just keep them the same length. Is everybody done back stitch?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So there's no questions on that one.
Okay.
Okay. And then another stitch, there's a, where did I put my stitch guide? It's in here, right? And did you find it okay with the general information? And it's a good idea to cut all your background blocks and just put them away and they're ready for each block, and you don't have to worry then about all the fabric that you use. So I showed the whip stitch and I showed the back stitch. Running stitch is pretty easy too. If you were to trace the running stitch, it's just like little dashes. I sometimes trace, I like to trace them a little, but sometimes I'll go over them and make them a different length depending on how I like them. And then I just start it the same with the knot. And you just go one stitch to one stitch. My daughter's crocheting. It's the same stitch you'd use in big stitch. Oh, and I did give the one extra in the kit, the M49, if you did want to do big stitch on your quilt. And that's it. And that's how it looks. Okay, and then there's a lazy daisy. I don't always trace my lazy daisies how they'll show. Sometimes I like to just, like, I'll put the center and then I'll put like 6 dots evenly placed around. And that's where I'll try to get my circle around. I mean, if you wanted to trace, you could do a little bit like that. So for lazy daisy, up at the center, And then you make a loop the size of what you want your loop to be. Back down at the same hole. And then I go up in that little dot that I made. Now that should stay there. And then you catch your loop. And then you go down just to hold it like that. Has everybody done that one too?
Yes.
Yeah.
So everybody probably doesn't even need all the embroidery stitches. But it's nice to go over, right? To see how everybody does it. Just to make sure everybody knows. Then usually when I finish my flower, I like to go into the center and make some French knots because it just kind of covers it and makes it look nice. Okay, so French knot. I usually do 2 or 3 wraps. I know not everybody loves them, but once you get the hang, they're easy. So you just wrap once, twice, hold your thread taut and down in the center. It's easier than it looks when you're trying to do it on here. There. My thread's coming loose. I'm running out. Okay, I'm gonna get a new piece. Let's try another color. How about the dark blue? Yeah, but their dark blue is a little different. Remember that was the one. Okay, let's try green. Iowa Valdanis. Does anybody have trouble with French knots? I know lots of times it's not the most fun one, and I have a few friends who don't like to do them at all. And we'll put buttons or something else. Mm. Okay, this one does not want to thread. Go. There. Yay! It's always a happy time when you get your thread in, right?
Mhm.
So you can add as many French knots to your backgrounds or anywhere. My knot went right through. No, it's okay. It's okay. As many as you'd like. So French knot up to the spot you want it in, and then wrap. I like going both this way, right? And down just a little close to the hole, and it should make that little pretty little rosette kind of knot. My camera's like moving. Is it shaking for you guys? There. I love doing French knots. A lot of people have a difficult time with them, but I find them relaxing. See, I keep hitting my phone. That's the problem. So you can do, I mean, obviously the more times you wrap, the bigger your knot's going to be. So you can play with the size you like them to be. I generally do 2 or 3 wraps on Valdani. I like them all at the end of my stems for my forget-me-nots. The colors are pretty with the blue and pink. And that's it. And that's all the stitches that are done in the whole quilt. And this is another, I love these Karen K. Buckley applique scissors. Does anybody use these?
I do.
Love them.
I have all 3 sizes. I love them.
I have these. in
I
the
do too.
I love them too.
They're amazing. I really love them too. So that's one of my favorite things. The perfect circles are really great. Your needles, obviously, the steam seam, the SF-101. Does anybody use anything different than the friction pen for tracing?
What about the water soluble pen? Is that, that okay?
You can use the water soluble. I don't love using it because you do have to wet your fabric after.
Yeah,
With this one, if you like, you can draw and draw like that. And then you take your iron
yeah.
and it irons it right off. It's completely gone. I know, I keep hitting that. So the lines are completely gone. They do come back though if you put your piece in the freezer, so. Everybody's like, well, the lines can come back, but I mean, you just iron them off, so. Yeah, so is there any questions at all?
I don't think so.
Okay, well,
I have a question.
okay, go ahead.
On the little, is it Joy?
Yeah.
The, where it has
Choose
this-
Joy.
the Joy?
Yeah.
Where you have all the French knots, do you travel on the back?
Yeah.
Okay, it won't
Yeah,
show.
I
because of
travel
that.
on the back. That's one of the joys of the SF 101. It
Okay.
normally doesn't show through.
Okay,
Yeah, I
thank you.
definitely travel because, oh my gosh, there's a lot of them, right?
Mhm.
So those are all French knots at the end of the stems on the forget-me-nots. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, I think I did 6 on every one. You can do whatever you want, but yeah, the blue and the pink. I loved how they looked with the
Yeah.
blue
I
and the
like them too.
variegated. They look really pretty.
Yeah.
They are pretty.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I'll show my quilt. I have it right here. So I'm big stitching mine right now, but I'm in debate because after I saw my friend Aileen, she edge to edged her whole quilt even over the applique, and it looks amazing. You can barely even tell, and I think just because the thread buries right into the wool. So I'm really in debate. But I do like the big stitch. It looks nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that looks good.
So I have like a grid I'm doing behind the blocks, and then I was going to ditch the whole rest of the quilt and then decide what else I wanted to add in after. So yeah, here's my block one. It's nice when you have the backing and it's upside down. And there's the Choose Joy, and I traveled and you can't see anything, so. And this is my backing.
Oh, pretty.
Oh, pretty.
I don't think I have any of that left though. And then your binding will be the pink polka dot, which will be really nice. I'll hold up the whole quilt. I don't know if you can see. Can I flip me back now? We'll just flip it again. Does anybody else use the perfect circles?
I do.
I do.
No, I just trace them and cut them out.
Yeah, you can do that too. Oh, there.
When you were doing your quilting, do you draw all your cross stitch your lines in?
Yeah, I did draw them in lightly with what are those pens called? You know, the one that has blue, pink, they're so lined. The chalk pens, yeah. So that it comes off, it doesn't stay. But I did draw the grid. I found it easier to okay, I can move that now. I found it easier like to get it straight, so.
So you're doing the grid behind the wool pieces?
Yeah.
And then what about the others, the pieced blocks? Are you just in the ditch on those, or what are you doing?
I'm doing in the ditch first, and then I'm gonna go back at the end and see what I want to put in.
Okay.
I want to ditch the whole quilt and put the binding on, and then I'm gonna go back and fill in things.
What are you using? A white? What
Oh, the
are
one
you
that's
using?
in your kit, the M49.
The Valdani.
Yeah, the Valdani M49 that's in your Pretty Posies kit is
Okay.
what I'm using for my big stitch. So if you do want a big stitch, and now I'm looking at it going, oh, I think I'm gonna keep going. I really do like it. It looks pretty.
Do you put it in a hoop at all, or just hold
No,
it in your hand?
No, I try to hoop, but I don't find it that comfortable. I feel like I'm having to reach too much.
Mm,
On the 9, I don't know if you can see. On the 9 patch, I kind of did like I went through the middle of the 9 patch.
Oh, I see,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Yeah, but I am ditching around everything. I'm ditching around the applique pieces. So. Yeah. Okay.
When the whole piece is done, Lori, what size is it?
I think it's 45 finished. 45
Okay.
square. It's right on the back of that. I'm pretty sure that's.
Yeah, 45 and a half. I think.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yeah, 45 finished.
Yeah.
Because you have your binding to put on.
Yeah.
Do you leave it, do your binding last, or do you put your binding on before you quilt it?
No, after.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
tempted- that's why I'm thinking I'm gonna try and ditch most of the quilt and then put the binding on. Cause then I might feel like it's done. But I'll probably, I'm not exactly sure what to big stitch in some spots yet. So I thought at least if I can get all the ditching done and like the grid behind all the blocks, then I can go back and see what I want to put in there too.
So
Mhm.
so all the blocks are different sizes, right? The big.
There's a couple that are different sizes. There's a couple that are more rectangle, but
Okay,
and some, you know, a lot of them are 6x6 finished. And I think the other ones are 5x8 or 5x9 finished.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I kind of wanted it not to be all just, okay, so which one? Oh, the buttons one is one of the longer ones too. It's so cute. I thought the buttons were too big at first, but I love it.
Very cute.
And the middle one, that one has a lot of pieces. That's a lot of fun. Different. That's the what are they called? What are they called? Hollyhocks. And then the hollyhocks with the friendship star. I like that with the friendship. So yeah. Yeah.
I
beautiful.
love it.
I love it too.
I did re-dye the wool for the whole project. So what you get should always be pretty similar. I know on the last one I ran out at the end. But I mean, it's pretty close anyway when you re-dye. It can be a little bit different, sometimes a little darker, but I think most of the colors turned out exactly how I wanted. I did scrap a few, didn't I? I had to order more dyes too, so. But I do like dyeing the wool. And yep, I'll be running another one next year.
Oh, good.
Good.
Oh, good.
I have another one coming in Noel. It's going to be a Christmas quilt, and I think it's got 4 or 5 Valdanis in it. And then I'm going to do another block of the month in the Primrose, which has the same feel as this one. Just there's a chocolate brown in it, and it'll be pretty too. So I don't know how long it'll take me to get those ones done, but yeah.
Well, you have your mother to help you out.
How's your mom doing?
She's doing good. Maybe I think I'll just turn off the record if there's nothing else anybody needs to ask her anything. Okay, I'm going to stop recording.